When I was little, my mom met my sister's dad. He told her straight away that I wouldn't matter much to him because I wasn't his kid. Mom was okay with that. They moved in together soon after meeting, and he never really paid attention to me. I was just there when they had my sister Katie. They were married by then, and Katie was always his favorite. Katie and I didn't really get along. Sometimes we were okay, but I'd back off when she started praising her dad and saying how lucky we were to have him. Even after her dad told her I wasn't his kid and she was the only one who mattered to him, she'd still talk about him as if he was amazing to both of us. Our mom always told me I had to accept having a different dad than Katie and be okay with it. She said kids can have different parents and still be close siblings. Katie always got everything, and she often reminded me of that. She'd ask why I didn't have nice clothes, or why I didn't eat with them, or why I didn't join them for outings with Dad. She'd tell me to speak up for myself. Once, she pestered me all day to ask Dad for new clothes, so I did just to get her off my back. But Dad didn't understand why I was asking him for anything, and that was the end of it. Katie said I gave up too easily. When Mom got sick when I was a teenager, I decided to tell Katie everything, hoping she'd understand. But she insisted her dad was still my dad because he raised me, and I should treat him like my dad. She brushed off everything I said, but she was just a kid, so I get it. I moved out just before turning 18, and then Mom died. It wasn't surprising that I wasn't welcome at the funeral. Katie wanted me there, but her dad made it clear it wasn't my place. Honestly, I didn't feel sad about missing the funeral because I had a strained relationship with Mom. 6 years later, Katie's dad got diagnosed with a terminal illness because he hadn't taken care of himself. I'm 24 now, and Katie's 20. She called me when they got the news, saying we needed to help take care of him. I told Katie I wouldn't do it. She said we couldn't abandon him, that we owed him better than leaving him alone. But I disagreed. I felt like I didn't owe him anything. He never cared for me and even criticized me for not being his kid. I wasn't going to comfort him in his final months. Katie said she couldn't handle it alone. I suggested she let others help her, but I wasn't going to care for someone who treated me poorly when I had no say in the matter. She called me selfish, saying she needed my help because I was all she had. Am I wrong? No, you're not wrong. Katie should know better now, even if she was just a kid before. But your mom made the mistake by marrying this man who didn't accept you. Your mom shouldn't have let someone into her life who didn't care for you. He took away your childhood, and you don't owe him anything. You don't owe your mom anything either. Katie seems self-centered and selfish. Your stepfather mistreated you, and your mom let it happen. It's sad that your mom prioritized finding a husband over your well-being. That part of your life is over now, so don't let Katie drag you back. He made it clear he wasn't your dad, and Katie living in her own world doesn't change that truth. Consider cutting her out of your life for good. She comes across as a spoiled favorite child lacking empathy, maybe even finding satisfaction in your suffering. It's best to disengage and move on. I became a mom 18 weeks ago, but I kept my pregnancy mostly secret, only sharing the news with my husband's parents and my sister. The announcement didn't sit well with my dad, his wife, or my half-sister. For those wondering why I kept it from them, there are 2 reasons. A few years ago, I believed I was pregnant but experienced a loss. I had openly shared the positive test, and when the truth came out, my dad's wife became overbearing. She believed I needed her as a mother figure since she married my dad after our mom passed away when my sister and I were young. However, she was too intrusive. Even after everything I went through, she wouldn't respect my need for space, and my husband had to ask her to leave our home. Another reason is that my sister has 2 kids. During both pregnancies, our dad's wife constantly pressured her about needing her as a mother figure. She insisted on being there for my sister during her pregnancy and talked about how it would strengthen their bond and make my sister appreciate her more. My sister ended up resenting her because of this. While neither of us were ever big fans of hers, my sister grew to despise her because she was convinced she would replace our mom by being there for her during pregnancy. She even dismissed my sister's feelings of missing our mom, saying pregnancy made women irrational and there was no reason to miss a ghost. Since then, my sister has refused to let our dad's wife be called grandma by her kids. All of this influenced my decision to keep quiet about my pregnancy when it happened. I don't live near my dad anymore, so I just stayed away. I also knew it would hurt their feelings, but I honestly didn't care. My dad was furious, and his wife and my half-sister sent me messages accusing me of being cruel and unfair, saying I robbed them of the excitement and tainted the whole experience. They both emphasized how important it was for Dad's wife to become a grandma for the third time, especially since her other grandkids would never call her grandma. And they called me selfish for not considering her joy. Am I the one at fault here? Absolutely not. Your stepmother seems overly controlling. You did what was best for yourself, your husband, and your child. Your pregnancy and birth were about your own family, not about meeting their expectations. You can't force relationships to be close. They either naturally develop or they don't. Step-parents who try to replace a deceased parent usually fail to create the bonds they hope for. Did she expect your baby to start calling her grandma as soon as it was born? She's not really your stepmother. She's just your dad's second wife. It seems like they need a reality check to understand that their idealized family fantasy isn't real and won't come true. They're still upset because they're holding onto their fantasy and feel hurt when it's not fulfilled. The only way to get them to respect your boundaries is for them to accept reality as it is. You're doing the right thing by protecting your family and setting boundaries. Congratulations on your new baby, sending you lots of peaceful baby vibes. My husband's sister moved in with us after a big argument about the baby's name. They're expecting a baby, and she's 7 months along. She's known to be particular about food and refuses to eat what we normally cook. We've been catering to her by preparing her favorite dishes, which unfortunately I can't eat due to allergies. So every evening, I have to figure out what to eat since she only wants food that I'm allergic to. Last night, my husband agreed to cook separate meals for her and us together. However, when I got home after a long day at work, I discovered that my sister-in-law had convinced him to cook only her preferred meal and cancel the one we had planned. They were eating together in the kitchen when I arrived. Apologetically, my husband explained that his sister persuaded him to eat with her and not to cook the meal I wanted for us both. I pretended it was okay and ordered food from a restaurant instead. After showering and doing some work on my laptop, I returned to the kitchen to find my order on the counter, open and mostly eaten. I turned around to see my sister-in-law standing there, admitting she couldn't resist the smell and had helped herself to the food. I lost my temper and yelled at her, demanding to know why she did that. She claimed she saved me some, but there was hardly anything left except rice and dressings. We argued, and I reached my limit. I told her to pack her things and leave first thing in the morning. She started crying, and my husband defended her, insisting that she was pregnant and eating for two. Finally, he suggested I quickly make something for myself from the fridge and let it go. But I refused, leading to a bigger argument. Am I wrong for kicking her out over this? Not at all. You don't just have a sister-in-law problem. Your husband is a big part of the issue. Your sister-in-law does sound selfish and entitled, pregnant or not, but the real issue lies with your husband prioritizing her needs over yours. How did he think it was acceptable to deny you dinner that you were expecting, especially when you couldn't even eat what she wanted? Your sister-in-law is in the wrong, but your husband is the one who needs to reassess his priorities. It's baffling how little they seem to care about you. Seriously, just toss the whole family out. Their treatment of you is unacceptable. I don't understand why your husband would agree to not cook for you. It's nonsensical. How could he be okay with that? Perhaps he could have cooked the same meal for himself and his sister and something else for you. Where do people find spouses like this? And this is the same woman who left her husband over a disagreement about baby names. Clearly, she's unbearable. Who walks out over baby names? Parenthood is stressful. I've been there with 2 kids. But seriously, if one person disagreed with a name, it was a no-go. So in your position, I wouldn't have even let her stay in the first place. I'd tell her to sort it out and go back to her own house to eat her food. Your husband and sister-in-law are being incredibly disrespectful. If I were you, I'd ask your sister-in-law's husband if you could spend a week at his place since his wife is driving you crazy. I bet both your husband and your sister-in-law would quickly resolve all their fights in Brazil. There's a saying that doesn't quite translate into English but fits perfectly here. The cure for crazy is crazier. The only winner in this situation seems to be your brother-in-law, who's getting a break from all this drama. My fiancé and I recently got engaged and chose our wedding party. My bridesmaids are my 2 closest friends, and his groomsmen are my brothers. One of them is his best friend, and the other is someone he's known for just as long. They've been like big brothers to him. My fiancé has a younger sister who's 4 years younger than him. She's a cancer survivor, and her experience has also shaped their relationship. His parents clearly favor her, showering her with excessive attention and expecting everyone else to do the same. She knows how to manipulate people by leveraging the special treatment she receives. My fiancé has admitted that he sometimes can't stand her. Whenever he refuses her requests, she guilt-trips him by bringing up her cancer or accusing him of wishing she had died. Although he's not estranged from his family, he's not particularly close to them either. He holds a lot of resentment towards his parents, blaming them for favoring his sister and neglecting him during his childhood. He felt overshadowed by her illness and then was expected to treat her like royalty. When we discussed our wedding party, my fiancé expressed his desire not to include his sister. I respected his decision, especially since, to be frank, I have no personal connection to her whatsoever. We've never spent time together or formed any sort of bond. Apparently, she and my fiancé's parents were expecting her to be asked to be a bridesmaid once they heard about our engagement. However, I hadn't planned on inviting her. I had already chosen my two closest friends to be bridesmaids. When his parents and sister confronted me about it, I explained that I hadn't intended to include her in the bridal party. They argued that she's family and important to my fiancé. I explained that while she may be important to him, she isn't close to me, and asking me to include her in my bridal party felt inappropriate. They called me foolish and insisted that I should try harder. They even suggested that she deserved a place in the bridal party more than anyone else, and that thinking otherwise made me seem like a bully, especially considering all she's been through. Am I wrong here? You're not wrong, but your fiancé should also step up and express that he doesn't want her in the bridal party. It's a joint decision, and both of you have the right to choose who stands beside you on your big day. It's unfair that you're shouldering all the blame for this when it's a decision you both made together. The parents are crossing boundaries here, and your fiancé should support you in setting limits with them. Consider reducing or cutting contact with them if their behavior persists. It's concerning how they tried to manipulate situations to favor his sister. If you and your fiancé have a child, they might even suggest giving her the baby because she's a cancer survivor. It's crucial to limit their involvement in wedding planning to prevent any unwanted surprises, like her showing up in the same colors as your bridesmaids or wearing a white dress to steal attention. Let your fiancé handle his family. He needs to address this with them. I, a 27-year-old woman, lived with my parents until last week. I have a dog whom I adore. She's been my best companion since I graduated from university. I'm not very social and prefer her company over most people I know. While I've had boyfriends and even a short-lived relationship that ended amicably, I'm just not interested in much beyond my work and my dog. My parents view this as a shortcoming, but I don't. My brother also resides with us. He's in high school and doesn't contribute financially. I cover about 50% of the household expenses, including groceries. I occupy the basement suite, which, while not legally rentable, suits a family member's needs according to building codes. Converting it for renting would be costly and impractical. My mom concluded that the reason I'm not actively seeking a husband is because my dog demands too much of my attention. While my pup does have some health issues, they are manageable and don't affect her quality of life significantly. Despite this, my mom gave her away while I was at work. When I returned home, my dog was gone, along with all her belongings, her toys, leash, everything. I confronted my mom, insisting she tell me where my dog was, threatening to involve the authorities and accuse them of theft if she didn't comply. I retrieved my dog from where she was being held and then returned to my parents' house to gather my belongings. Afterward, I went to stay with a friend. My dad has been reaching out, asking for money to cover expenses for the month. I reminded him that he should have considered this before allowing someone to take my dog. Unfortunately, my dad lost his job due to the current global situation, and they're struggling to cover all the household expenses without my contribution. He mentioned that they'll run out of money in 3 months without my assistance. However, I no longer trust them. My family believes I'm foolish for prioritizing my dog over them. Am I wrong? You're not wrong at all. Your parents were clearly taking advantage of you. You were paying half of everything, including what should have been market rent for a basement suite that wasn't even up to code. That's unacceptable on so many levels. And that's before they decided to get rid of your dog. They deserve to face the consequences of their actions. Whatever you decide, never give them another penny. I'm relieved that you were able to retrieve your dog and find a safe place for both of you to stay. Perhaps they can consider moving into the basement and renting out the upstairs room. Problem solved, OP. Living with people who steal from you and try to control you is unsustainable. They're solely responsible for the current situation. Everyone should pull their weight and work while you find a place far from them where you and your dog can enjoy life. Additionally, if the mother's concern is that you're not seeking a husband, does she expect you to get married and have everyone live together in your home while you continue to support them financially? Or would she expect you to move out and still contribute as if you were living there? The same issue would arise. Your parents' actions have led to this situation, and at almost 30, it's unacceptable for them to still rely on you financially. They should have considered this before betraying your trust and alienating you. It's not just about the dog, it's about rebuilding trust.